I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is I Was 8. This episode marks the beginning of Season 4 of my personal journal storytelling podcast about growing up in a small Canadian prairie town. A reminder again, these stories are true, only some of the names have been changed. It all happened when I was 8.
Season 4, Chapter 1, The Big Trip.
The first week of summer vacation was already decided. We would pile into the car and visit my uncle, aunt, and cousins in Edmonton. Edmonton. I'd heard of it. Getting there would require crossing a border into another country. It's the same country, Larry, just another province. Okay, thanks, Mom. That's not what I hear. But okay, another province. Still, though, I'd seen a lot of World War II movies, and those border checks could be deadly. I hope we live. I looked up the border on a map, a big line between Saskatchewan and Alberta, and actually couldn't wait to see it in person. I mean, on the map, it was a thin black line, but I'll bet in real life, the black line was a lot thicker, and it probably took them a long time to paint it. Dad, how long will it take to get to the line? Dad wasn't sure, but to get to Edmonton would take between 6 and 7 hours, depending on several factors. One, if we make good time, it will be less. Okay, make good time. Still don't know what that means. Also, how many stops we might have to make. We'll definitely have to stop for gas at some point and maybe a lunch. Hey, if we stop for lunch, can I order chocolate milk? Maybe. Okay, maybe. Better than a flat-out no. Big black line, chocolate milk. There were starting to be a few things to look forward to. When we took a long car trip to the big city of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, PA, it was like forever. 45 minutes. The rare times we traveled to the big city of Saskatoon, it was like forever times 2. 90 minutes. So let me see, Edmonton then, 90, plus 90, plus 90. No, I think I need another 90. That's 360 days. It's going to take a year? No, wait. He said 6 or 7 hours. Okay, just move the 0. And this 9, 18. Okay, it's like 4 Saskatoons. I won't make it without chocolate milk. During the last few weeks of school, I told anyone who would listen that I was going to Edmonton in the summer, and that it was a whole day away in another province. No kid in our town had ever been that far away from home, and I promised to return with many tales of my adventures in this faraway land. Furthermore, Mom told me that our trip would take us through a town called Lloydminster. Oh, like my friend Lloyd if he was a minister. No, Lloydminster. Lloydminster was a town that was half in Saskatchewan and half in Alberta. I guess that big black line ran right through it. Wow, who ever heard of such a thing? Not me. So, Mom, hold on. If I lived there, I could live in Saskatchewan, but go to school in Alberta. Yes, possibly. I could get on my bike in Alberta and be in Saskatchewan in like 1 minute. I guess so. I could stand in Saskatchewan, take a rock, and throw it into Alberta. Because right now in Waukesha, Saskatchewan, for me to be able to throw a rock into Alberta, well, I'd have to have like a really good arm and the wind at my back, and it would have to be like the perfect rock. But if I lived in Lloydminster, it would be so easy. Hey, could we stop in Lloydminster, Saskatchewan, and look for a rock? Okay, Larry, enough with the rocks. All right. The day of the trip finally arrived, a beautiful, bright, sunny day. We should make good time, said Dad, and he packed up the big green Pontiac. As we piled in, I noted that the back seat had been preheated to 350 degrees for my traveling comfort. I rolled down the window as we made our way out of town, and Dad said he had called the weatherman from the TV to make sure we had a nice day for the trip. Huh. Simply call the weatherman and ask for a nice day. Good to know, Dad. Perhaps you could share his number with the rest of the family. I would put it in my Rolodex. Weatherman right after Wanda, but before Winchester rifles, and thus be able to make a similar call on those days we kids were biking to the lake. Just ask for a nice day. My mother made me pack a paper bag with a few small toys, some marbles, anything else I would like to play with in the car. Comic books were not allowed. Under no circumstances was anyone allowed to read in a moving car. This leads to blindness. Mom said long before you were born, Larry, there was a girl in our town, Florence Feist, who used to sneak comic books into the back seat and read on the way to PA. Now she goes to a blind school in New Brunswick, said Mom. Well, there's the proof. No comic books for Larry. So I played with my toys, lost a few marbles down the back seat of the car, had this tiny magnetic checkers set. Nobody wanted to play with me, so I played against myself. Won every game. Hey, Dad, you need me to drive for a while? No? Come on. You let me drive all the time at Grandma's. Well, that was just steering up the driveway. This is the highway. You can't drive until you're 16. It's another lifetime away. Okay, but frankly, didn't seem that hard to drive. Starting and stopping seemed hard to me, but just driving on a highway? What's the big deal? You're just sitting there. So instead, Dad and I played our car game. Each time a car passed, I would name the make of the car and he the year, or vice versa. We were both so good at it, no one ever won or lost. We just eventually stopped playing. After we stopped playing the game, I figured we must be almost there by now. Hey, how long have we been on the road to Edmonton? 28 minutes. Oh, that's not even half a Saskatoon. Think I'll just nap. Mom and Dad promised to wake me when we got to this other highlight of the road trip they told me about, the town of Biggar. Biggar, Saskatchewan. B-I-G-G-A-R. I'd heard of it. What was famous about their town was a sign off the highway as you pulled in. New York is big, but this is bigger. That really is their sign. You couldn't make that up. I was 8 and I thought it was an hilarious joke, and I wondered why our town of Waka couldn't have something cool like that. Our town sign just said Waka. Waka, W-A-K-A-W, a palindrome. We could have a sign like, even if you travel backwards, it's still Waka, or, something good. Of course, now my old hometown of Waka does have a big sign. It reads, former home of Larry Fedoruk. No, it doesn't. No. Why would it? I lied. Hey, Larry, wake up. We're coming up to Biggar. Oh, there it is. There's the sign. New York is big, but this is bigger. Hey, can we stop and get a picture? No. Oh, because we're making good time. Next was the highly anticipated Lloydminster. We pulled into town, and Dad said suddenly, now we're in Alberta. What? Where was the black line? There is no black line? And I don't suppose we're stopping for me to find a rock to throw. Oh yeah, making good time. Well, at least there was no border check, no gate or soldiers or papers to show. That was a relief. I stared out the window for a while, marveling at the fact that I was suddenly in a whole new province. But when nothing really changed, I just started to dig in the back seat for my lost marbles. Sometime after Lloydminster, we stopped in the middle of nowhere at a gas station. The gas station had a restaurant because, of course they did. We went in and got a booth. Please, please, please say yes to chocolate milk. Because so far this excursion has just been one disappointment after another. And a large chocolate milk for my son. Yes. So at the booth, there was this device. You could put money in it, press some buttons, and a song you chose would play out loud over the entire restaurant. To this day, I marvel at the technology. Johnny, Dad, put a quarter in and pressed F6 5 times to hear his favorite song over and over, Big Bad John by Jimmy Dean.
Every morning at the mine you could see him arrive. He stood 6'6" and weighed 245, kind of broad in his shoulder.
It was like an early concept country rap thing. I don't know. Big John, Big Bad John.
Big Bad John.
Oh, yeah. To this day, I cannot drink chocolate milk without hearing that song in my head, or hear that song without instantly craving chocolate milk. I may have to pause and get some right now. Bellies full and back on the road, the euphoria of chocolate milk and Jimmy Dean began to wear off quickly. Fatigue set in. Mom and Dad were disagreeing on something, and I was no help. I started in with the "Are we there yet?" I was told we'd be in the car the rest of the afternoon. No stopping, because we were making good, yeah. I'm bored. This is not fair. Are we there yet? Shut up. But I'm bored. This is not fair. When are we getting there? Dad snapped. If you don't shut up, I'll pull this car over right now and just leave you by the side of the highway. Oh, yeah? You will you? Well, there was no need for the checkers set anymore. The game was now chess, and it was my move. I don't have to be quiet. I'm bored. When are we getting there? With that, Dad began slowing down the car and pulled it partially onto the gravel curb. Wow. He's doing it. Oh, okay, I'll be good. Back onto the highway, speeding up again. Good move, Father. All right, let's think this through. He wouldn't actually leave me on the side of the highway near Nowhere, Alberta, would he? So I started up again. Whine, 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 complain, whine. This time, Dad didn't just slow down the car. He slammed on the brakes, stopped on the curb, and told me to get out. I panicked. I started crying. Mom started yelling at Dad. They went back and forth for a while. So the car was moving again and back on the highway with me still safely in the back seat. Once I calmed down, I realized I'd been had. Had to go for the win here, so back with the whining. I'm bored, yakety yak. Dad pulled over again, stopped, and told me to get out. Sure, Dad. Like you're gonna just leave me here. I'd be happy to get out. So I got out, and I slammed the door shut. Dad started pulling away. Yeah, nice try, Dad. He'll stop any second now and back up. He's not stopping. He's pulling away. He's pulling away and speeding up. Check and mate. Dad wins. He's leaving me. I started screaming, wait, I'll be good, don't leave me here. And I started running after the car, which, by the way, was still not stopping. I remember other cars whizzing down the highway, and I've always wondered what they thought of this sight. An 8-year-old hightailing it down the gravel curb after the family car. I'm sure most of them thought, oh, they're doing that thing. Yeah, bratty kid. Hope he learns his lesson. When I saw those red brake lights come on, I was so relieved. The car stopped. Mom got out and opened the back door, waiting for me to catch up. No, Dad didn't back up. I had to run all the way there. Felt like the car was a mile away. But I got there, leapt into the back seat, crying, out of breath, sweaty, distraught. Rest of the trip, model child. Oh, my uncle, aunt, and cousins? They didn't even live in Edmonton. Turns out they lived on a farm near Edmonton. And not only that, they called it a ranch. This is a ranch. Does no one here watch Bonanza on TV? That's a ranch. This pretty much looks like a farm. I was 8, but my cousins were like real little kids, too little to play with. I taught one of them magnetic checkers. I won every game. I started to think I would have had more fun alone on the side of the highway for a few days. Actually made a mental note. If and when Dad kicks you out of the car again, make sure and grab your paper bag of toys next time. One morning, just like that, we packed up and left for home. We stopped at the same place for gas and lunch. I had the chocolate milk. Dad played Big Bad John 5 times. I thought of taking on Dad again in another game of chess, but I just wanted to get home, so I was good. That night, it felt great to be back in my room and in my own bed. The next day, my friend Philip came over, and I told him all about Edmonton. What a city! And we went through this other town that was bigger than New York. Oh, and of course I told him about the big black line between Alberta and Saskatchewan. You know, it took them like 7 years to paint that.
I Was 8 is a weekly storytelling podcast written, produced, and voiced by Larry Fedoruk. A new episode every Thursday on all major platforms or Larry's I Was 8 YouTube channel. Tell a friend about his podcast and reach out to Larry Fedoruk, that's Fedoruk, at LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com.